Wait for just a second.
Yeah, appreciate it.
Okay.
Aren't you cold?
No, I've got that football mentality, you know, wearing short sleeves and no matter how cold it is. I'm not saying that's smart, but I have it still. I have to see my breath before I feel like it's cold. I told him a minute ago I don't have any. No, you're fine, dude. I don't have a significant update. Well, I don't have a lot of detail yet, but I do have at least one significant update to share. So, you ready?
Yes.
Okay.
Reese, you ready?
Yeah.
You good?
Yep. All right. Gary, Gary, last name Woodruff, Woodruff, Chief of Police with Lawrence Police. To update everyone on our officer-involved shooting incident, very sad to report that the individual who received the one gunshot wound did not survive that injury, was declared deceased right around 4 o'clock at the hospital. And efforts are underway to confirm his identity by the Marion County Coroner's Office, of course. Lawrence Police Detectives, Marion County Prosecutor's Office was here and represented. The Marion County Crime Lab and now the Marion County Coroner's Office will all be involved in continuing with the investigation as to the dynamics that led to the officer-involved shooting.
Did you say he suffered a single gunshot wound?
Correct. Single gunshot wound. There was one shot that was fired by an officer, by a Lawrence police officer, and the individual who received that gunshot wound sadly did not survive their injuries. The overall investigation remains very much under investigation, and of course additional detail will develop as that investigation proceeds forward. We all know, from previous incidents, it's a very methodical approach to investigating these officer-involved shootings. In particular, every detail is reviewed, including all camera footage, body-worn camera footage, dash camera footage, and all of the investigative resources that us and every investigating agency has at their disposal.
Obviously, the efforts are underway to identify this individual. Is there any indication that's been updated on potential adult versus juvenile or anything like that?
Adult male. Yeah, thank you for asking that. Yeah, adult male, but we don't have an absolute confirmed identity yet. That'll all come from the Marion County Coroner's Office when, identity has been confirmed. They have a protocol they go through also. But it's my understanding it is an adult male, but I don't have a specific age group for you or any other additional information as I stand here right now.
How much longer is the road going to remain closed for?
That's a great question. Probably at least in the next hour or two, anyway, from 30th Street on North Shadeland Avenue, from 30th Street to about 38th Street or so. They'll make every effort to clear the road as quickly as they can. On the other hand, there's a thorough, methodical process that is undertaken whenever there's an officer-involved shooting, and we know that everyone expects us to adhere to that methodical process, of course. So that's the first priority.
Does the investigation change at all now that the man has died?
The matter is going to be thoroughly. Let me say that again. Sorry, that we're not live. The matter would be thoroughly investigated no matter what. Of course, it's sad whenever there's a loss of life. Of course, it's tragic. All the resources will be available to the officers that were here at the scene, in particular the officer that was involved in the specific shooting, and certainly a change. There's a loss of life, of course, but the investigative process remains the same, and it would be again a very thorough investigation. All results at the end of it will be shared with the Marion County Prosecutor's Office. They are already here and represented and have started their own investigative process as well.
Can you talk about your pursuit policy?
Sorry?
Can you talk about your pursuit policy as the Lawrence Police Department?
Yeah, it's too early to determine. Way early to determine. If everything was in compliance with pursuit policy. But there'll be a ongoing review for that as well as a process for that as well, and that'll be part of the process. As we all know, there's typically two parallel investigations: a criminal investigation and then a policy investigation, and those two processes somewhat parallel.
Will Lawrence Police be the lead on this, or will IMPD kind of step in as that assisting agency? How does that work for you?
So right now, Lawrence Police is the primary investigating agency, and of course, you see that IMPD is here supporting, and they've offered every layer of support that they can provide for us if we need it, as has the Indiana State Police. So right now, Lawrence Police will maintain a lead on the case, but it's important to remind everyone that the Marion County Prosecutor's Office was here, is involved. Marion County Coroner's Office, and the Marion County Crime Lab. So there's a lot of layers of investigative efforts and agencies, not just solely Lawrence Police.
Since we last heard from you, have you spoken to anybody that saw it, anybody that witnessed the shooting? Or the
I personally have not.
Okay.
No, we leave that to our investigators to I've been briefed on the overall incident, but our investigators, we rely on them to conduct the investigation. I've been a detective that has conducted these investigations, so it's important that we allow that investigative process to play itself completely out.
Shooting aside, I mean, what steps are normally taken to ensure that there doesn't even have to be a pursuit when you try to initiate a traffic stop, and what would, I guess, the message be on that end of things? Because I know the shooting's under investigation.
Keeping in mind that there is a loss of life here, but having said that, a pursuit doesn't have to happen if a person just yields to the efforts of the officers to stop to make the traffic stop. Things obviously go much smoother when there's initial compliance, but again, we don't want to be insensitive or not sensitized to the fact that there was a loss of life here, and that's important to remember also. I know everybody will, but yeah, having said that, this is hard on everyone. It's difficult on the decedent's family. It's going to be difficult for the officers that were involved, and difficult on the investigators. So there'll be time for healing as the investigation moves forward, and our hearts go out to everybody involved, of course.
Do you guys need witnesses, to come forward that if they saw
Yeah, if
anything?
anybody did happen to witness it, sure, they can contact the Lawrence Police investigations and share any information they might have. Sure, we welcome any and all sources of information as we're conducting an investigation like this. Keep in mind also that not only us, IMPD, and any Indiana State Police that were here at the scene, there'll be body-worn camera and car camera, every investigative resource. If there are any cameras that were on buildings down there or anything, they'll all be sought for review as a part of the investigation.
Could you take us back to when it happened? Was the individual, did he step out of his car?
I don't know. Yeah, I don't have that level of detail as yet. Again, we the investigators, just need the space to be able to conduct their investigation, and there's a process that this all goes through, and it takes a little bit of time. It needs to be very methodical, very thorough. So, as I stand here right now, I don't have that level of detail, but that will develop as the investigation moves forward over the next hours and days.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks, Chief.
Thank you.